How's everyone doing? It feels good to be the headliner in this room, but I have to tell you, I'll be with you in just a second. I've been working on this, and it's almost ready. All right, I'm just gonna. Well, actually, I'm doing a few things here. I'm refactoring the back end. The API is being updated. I'm working on some design fixes because, you know, why not? We're just going to mess with it a little bit. And I'm implementing a new feature, some chatbot feature that's going to happen here in this application. But it's almost done, and as soon as it's done, we'll go ahead and get started with this presentation. So just give me a minute. Man, I have to tell you that this feels really, really good. I'm like building and giving a presentation all at the same time. So thank you for watching this. This is super, super cool.
Hi, Nathen.
Oh.
How are you?
Hey, Ursula. I'm awesome. I mean, look at this as I'm like building so much. I have superpowers as a developer. I am just building and building and building. It's awesome.
It looks so productive.
Thank you.
I'm very impressed.
Yes. I'm crushing it.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
The million-dollar question. What's the ROI of all this activity?
Oh.
I have to ask you for the CFO, you know.
I mean, Ursula, if I'm being honest, you're the third person to ask me that this week. And honestly, I feel really good, but I don't know. I don't know what the ROI is. But I'll tell you what, I feel really productive. Really productive.
That's good. And I love the energy.
Yeah.
But producing lots of code is not always a good thing, right? It can also be a liability or create technical debt. Oh, yeah. Actually, we haven't even introduced ourselves.
Oh, let's do that. Let's do that, shall we? It's important to introduce yourself when you're giving a talk. So, hello, everyone. My name is Nathen Harvey. I'm a developer, obviously, and I run the Dora program here at Google Cloud. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute.
And I'm Ursula. I'm only acting as the CFO. I'm a value realization lead in PSO in Delta EMEA.
Yeah, great. So we want to tell you about Dora. If you're unfamiliar with it, or even if you are, Dora is a research program that looks into the capabilities that technical teams need to really thrive. We think about technical-driven or technology-driven teams and technology-driven organizations. How do you improve? And Dora used to be an acronym. If you've been following it for a minute, you might know the acronym, but we've de-acronymed it. So in other words, Dora stands for nothing. But that doesn't sound right. So we have a tagline. Dora stands for Get Better at Getting Better. And that's what we want to help you do. And each year, Dora publishes a report. So in 2025, we published the annual report, The State of AI-Assisted Software Development. Now, as a presenter, you know, sometimes, I don't know if you've ever given a presentation before, but it can be kind of nerve-wracking. And you can feel really nervous up here in front of your peers. And, you know, I'm a software developer, not a presenter, so I have a tip for you as an audience member. Anytime a presenter puts a QR code on the screen, do that presenter a favor. Hold up your phone. It doesn't matter what you're doing with your phone. If you hold it up, my content is connecting with the audience. They're listening. They're here. They're with us, Ursula. It feels really good. So if you see a QR code, do us a favor and give us that boost of confidence. We'll feel much better about that. So in any case, you can download the report there at that QR code, or you could take a selfie as you like. We loved bringing this research into the market, right? We worked together with some research partners, and we even had some sponsors of the report, folks like Harness and GitLab, who you can see down on the expo floor right now. So definitely go and check them out. But Ava, can you tell us a little bit about the report itself?
Yeah, here's the primary finding.
Oh my gosh, Ursula.
Yes, that works.
All right.
No worries. So the major finding is AI's primary role in software development is that of an amplifier. And that means the greatest return on the investment come not from the tools, but from the underlying organizational system. And without that foundation, it just creates localized pockets of productivity that might be lost downstream to chaos.
Yeah. Localized pockets of productivity, we probably don't want that, do we?
No. So let's look a little bit deeper into it.
Yeah, we'll talk about AI adoption and use, right? So Dora collects a lot of its information through surveys. And I know what you're thinking. Survey? Like, that's just your opinion, man. And people lie on surveys, don't they? Well, this year we figured out exactly how many people lied on our survey. And it was 10%. And that's what this slide shows here. Oh, no, that's not what we were trying to figure out with this question. This question was about AI adoption. The question was, are you using AI at work? And 90% of our survey respondents said yes, and 10% lied. But to be really fair, obviously that's a little bit of a joke, but we did run this survey last year in 2025, and it was actually June and July of 2025. So I would imagine that this year we won't ask that question. Or if we did, we may as well ask, do you use a computer at work? Because obviously the answer is yes. Everyone is using AI. But we want to understand more than just, are you using it? We really want to understand what's happening as you're using AI. And so Dora likes to explore these relationships to key outcomes. And this slide kind of shows you what that means. And this slide, maybe it takes just a second to explain what's going on here. So we start by collecting a bunch of data, and we build a model that kind of represents our picture of the world. And we understand things like, are you using AI? Do you trust the AI? Do you rely on the AI? Do you practice test-driven development? All of these different capabilities and conditions. We build this into a model, and then we run some simulations across the model. But as we're running simulations, we want to change a parameter in the model. And so we basically say, well, what if we turned up the AI adoption? So let's say you get a score for your AI adoption. We amplify that score. We turn it up. And then we run the model, the simulation, to see what would happen. And so basically what this chart shows, that dashed line going up the center. If nothing changed about the outcome, the dot would land on that dashed line. And then if that dashed line falls over here, that means things got higher. The score of that thing got higher. And it falls over here, that means it got lower, right? So that's how you read this chart. So let's just look at the specific outcomes there. The first one we see is individual effectiveness. That one, as you increase your AI adoption, that increases relatively significantly, certainly relative to the rest of these. The next one, though, is software delivery instability. That's a measure of, like, when you push a change to production, how frequently do you immediately roll that change back? Or say, oh no, we better push forward a hot fix. And just to be very clear, we would prefer that instability go down, but what our data shows is as you're using more AI, instability increases. So that's sort of counter to what we hope would happen.
And let's keep those two in mind for a second, because we will pick them up in our model as we move towards ROI.
Awesome.
They're the most important ones.
Yeah, they are definitely important ones. We also, though, see that there's really positive outcomes for things like organizational performance, the time that a developer spends doing valuable work, code quality, product performance, software delivery throughputs. We're maybe able to push more change into production, and team performance. And then we come to the final two, burnout and friction. And in our data from last year, those are basically at 0. So AI does neither increases burnout, nor does it decrease burnout. We'll see what 2026 holds. But we also want to look pretty deeply into team performance. And Dora has always looked at software delivery performance as kind of our center of gravity. But you know, Ursula, we want to look more than just software delivery performance. So this year, we actually looked across all 7 of these factors. That's 8, I think. 8 of these factors. I'm not good at math, but you can trust our data. But we looked at all of these different factors here to really understand how's it going for a team. And we did what's called a cluster analysis. So we take all of the data that we got from all of you and others like you, we put it down onto a plot, and in the data we see clusters start to emerge. So the cluster that's over here, like, they're all kind of similar to one another, but they're very different from the cluster that's over there. That's a bunch of people that are similar to one another. And so when we looked at this, 7 different clusters emerged. And we named these clusters. You could see the names there: foundational challenges, high impact, low cadence, harmonious high achievers. But, you know, names are just descriptions. You probably want to see the data. So here we go. This is what they look like.
I can't see it.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. This is kind of difficult to see. and those charts, download the report. Read more about them there. It's much easier to zoom in when you have the page right in front of you. But here's the key point. We saw nearly universal adoption of AI, but look at this variance when it comes to team performance. There's lots of variance, which really leads to this question. Maybe it's not that you're using AI that determines what your performance looks like, but rather how you're using AI. And that's what we were thinking as a research team. And that led us to create what we call the DORA AI capabilities model. These are capabilities and conditions that, combined with AI adoption, lead to better outcomes. And quickly, the 7 capabilities that we've identified. So if you're using AI, these are things that you want to have in your organization, on your team. A clear and communicated stance, a clear and communicated AI stance. Healthy data ecosystems, AI-accessible internal data, strong version control practices, working in small batches, a user-centric focus, and quality internal platforms. Yeah. So I want to show you really quickly. We're going to just switch to a demo here for a second. Let's switch to a demo. All right. So if we could switch to this computer, we'll get that demo up here for you in a second. There it is, there it is. Okay, so I'm over here on dora.dev. This is the website where you can go and learn all about Dora, and I'm just going to click on this AI link because, well, everything is AI, right? And this is a good thing to explore. So here we have an interactive Dora AI capabilities model. So what you can see here is how AI adoption on the left-hand side really relates to all of these outcomes, like team performance and product performance on the right-hand side. And it's with these capabilities in the center that AI adoption really impacts those outcomes. So Ursula, let's say that you're working on a team and product performance is just not up to snuff. You really want to focus on that as the place to go. You can come to this model and look at product performance. If you follow the arrows backwards, it will really show you the capabilities and conditions that you need to have AI really impact product performance. And we know that it's going to impact product performance based on the data that we have. Now, you might have 2 questions here. First, what do you mean when you say product performance? So in the model, you can see how to assess product performance, which will give you insights into how we measured that. And then for each one of these capabilities, let's take working in small batches as an example, you can also see how we assessed it, but also learn more about how you might implement that yourself. So we have information on the site that will help you with that. So that's the interactive capabilities model, but let's go back to our slides here. And Ursula, I'm going to give you the remote.
Thank you. This is an important basis for everything we will see in the following steps, so let's keep it in mind, the capabilities.
Oh, wait. Oh, can you go back 1 slide for me? I just want to see something here. Oh, it's happening. Look.
Yes.
Look. They're connecting with what we're saying. They're with us. They're with us. I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
But seriously, we published the findings of our AI capabilities model in a subsequent report. This report came out in December, so you can go and download that report to read more.
Absolutely. In case you don't want to go to the concert tonight, right? You can read the report.
Yes, we'll give you lots of good reading.
Yeah, but that brings us back to the million-dollar question. What's the ROI? In fact, most people expect a straight line up for ROI. That's probably not the case. It might look more like this, what we call the J-curve. So actually, the value and the productivity dips first. You need to learn, you need to pay the verification tax, you need to adjust your pipelines, and after that, hopefully, it goes up.
Wait a minute. So you're telling me that I'm paying for all of these awesome AI tools and productivity is going to go down? Finance is going to love that.
Well, they will if you forecast it properly, because you show that you're not just paying the hype, but you're factoring in reality.
Okay.
So, for example, the verification tax, Tell us more about it.
Yeah, the verification tax. Maybe you've felt this. Maybe before you had AI, as code was making its way into production, it usually stops at a number of places along the way. One of those places is usually some feedback mechanisms, like maybe code review is a good example. And I am willing to wager, I don't know, 50 cents that before you had AI, code review was kind of a bottleneck in your software delivery process. You probably waited around for someone to review your code. Well, now AI has come along, and we're generating 10x, 100x, 1,000x more code. But maybe we haven't improved our code review process, and now we're paying a verification tax. Like, we need to verify all of that code. We need, and it's not just code, right? Anything that the AI produces, we want to make sure it's the right thing or it's a good thing. And so we're paying a lot of verification tax, and that can slow us down.
Yeah, exactly. So let's look at the framework. How do we move from all the activity and productivity that we saw with Nathen to value? And here's how it works. So we have 5 pillars in our little framework here. Cost efficiency, of course, is one. It's usually one that is mentioned first when we think about value from AI. Productivity is another one. It could be productivity in business processes or also in the IT processes. We have developer experience, very important. You want your developers to be happy. We have user experience as well. To make your users happy, that's the ultimate goal of why we develop services and products. And finally, business growth, so selling more, earning more. And the point is really not to stop with engineering metrics, but to move beyond that and look at how do developers influence business growth.
Yeah, and this really makes a lot of sense, Ursula. You know, in the DORA research, as you saw, we see software delivery throughput increasing, but instability or that change failure rate is also going up. And so while we might be creating more, maybe we're seeing more friction. We're not actually delivering more value just yet.
Yes, exactly. That's spot on. And the point here is with increased productivity, we want to free up capacity to do new things, to do more innovation, to create more features, to make our users happy or generate more revenue.
Yeah.
So let's look at how it works in detail. And here's where you might remember what Nathen showed you before. It all starts with
Yeah, it all starts with AI adoption, right? We know that AI adoption is increasing across almost every organization, basically universally. But again, we want to think about those capabilities and conditions that you have together with that AI adoption that will help drive some of those software delivery metrics and other outcomes that we really care about. And those kind of predict or contribute to non-financial value. What is non-financial value, Ursula? What is that?
Yes, so we're moving from the left of the model to the right, as Nathen just said, and from AI adoption, coupled with the capabilities, we will see the software metrics improving, hopefully. AI adoption also influences the cost of implementing AI, of course. The more you adopt, the more expensive it'll get. And when your software delivery metrics are improving, we hope to improve productivity, developer experience, and user experience. And we call this non-financial value because you don't measure these in dollars, right? The productivity is a time saving, for example. Developer experience might be an NPS or whatever is used to capture satisfaction. User experience might be a CSAT score. So these are important metrics, but they're not financial metrics.
Right.
However, these 3 pieces of value feed into financial value. So that's what we see on the right, business growth or cost reduction, cost efficiency. That's where you will see the dollars. And increased productivity, better developer experience, et cetera, should feed into these.
So Ursula, first you told me productivity is going to go down. And now you've given me what looks like, I have to say, a rather complex model. I'm
Yes.
a little bit concerned about this conversation I have to have with the finance team.
We'll help you. We'll help you. Just to finish this, because you will see these funny little lines at the end there. Business growth plus cost efficiency, both these effects taken together give you the total value. And then the total value minus the total cost is the net benefit divided by the total cost gives you the ROI. So that's the simple formula, right?
Okay.
However, let's look at it in detail. We've built a little calculator to make this easier for you.
Oh, great.
Oh, thank you.
While folks are holding up your phone to join us in the calculator, I'm going to switch back to our demo machine here, and let's walk through the calculator itself, if you don't mind.
Yes,
yeah.
Let's plug in your team's numbers.
Okay. I love it. So here we are. We're at the ROI of AI calculator, again, on Dora.dev. And I see it starts with some input variables. You want to talk me through those, Ursula?
Yeah, we start with the organizational metrics, which set the scene, the technical staff size, so the number of developers in your team.
Okay, technical staff size, I get that, but what is FTE in parentheses?
The full-time equivalence, so the equivalence of full developers and not part-time.
Okay.
Part-time give one full, for example.
I got you. And if I'm in my organization, if we have, I don't know, we do have about 400 developers, technical staff, but we haven't given AI licenses to all of them. So should I put in the total technical staff?
Only those who have adopted or who are or ones you predict to adopt.
So I'm going to call that 200 then, because we have about 400 and we've given licenses out to about half of them. Okay.
Okay. The fully loaded salary, don't be afraid. This is not the salary your developers get, but it's the fully loaded one that needs to be paid by the company, so including benefits, including the office space, etc., which is an uplift on the salary.
If I increase this number, do I get a raise?
Let's try it.
Let's try it. All right. Yeah. Okay. Why not? We'll bump that up to let's call it 196. That feels better already.
Yeah. Okay.
Great.
Let's try it.
Okay.
The default you will see in the calculator is a blended rate for US and offshoring a little bit, but yeah, you can play around with it.
All right. So now we have some baseline software delivery metrics.
Yes. So this is what your development looks like before AI. So we're capturing the baseline that we're starting from, and then we will add how does it look like with AI, and the comparison between the two will lead us to ROI. So this is the situation without AI. The product portfolio revenue is the revenue, Nathen, you and your developers are touching with your products.
Okay, so how much revenue does our product portfolio bring in? I don't know. How am I going to figure that out, Ursula?
If you...
I have to be accurate here.
No, you don't have to be accurate. Make a guesstimate.
Okay.
If you know your company's revenue, for example, and you know, okay, my team is only touching this branch or this particular activity, then you only take a part of it.
Okay. Well, for today, I'll just leave it at the default value that's here in the calculator at about 100 million. I don't know, that feels pretty good.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe I should increase it if I want that salary increase. But I'll leave it alone for now.
Let's see what we...
Okay.
Yes.
Next up, it looks like cost of downtime per hour.
Yes. So that would be the cost incurred when your systems are down. So for example, revenue lost or image reputational damage or the cost to fix these problems.
Okay, I can see there's a lot of components that go into that. We'll leave it with the default here, I guess. That feels good, about $100,000. So next up, we have current deployments per year. And then the one right after that is current features deployed per year. What's the difference between a deployment and a feature?
Oh, you tell me, you're a developer.
Oh, yes, I am a developer, I will tell you. So when we think about deploying software into production, and you think about features that you're delivering, sometimes there's a one-to-one match. Every deployment has a feature in it. But sometimes there's not a one-to-one match. Maybe a deployment has 6, 7, 8, 9 features, especially if you're only deploying, 2 or 3 times a year. You're probably bundling multiple features into one deployment. At the same time, maybe you roll things out progressively and you're shipping fractions of a feature and it takes 6 or 8 deploys to get that full feature deployed. So in our calculator, we're basically using deployments and features as a proxy for one another. We're basically saying there's a one-to-one relationship. So we start with 50 deployments a year, which feels about right for my team. We're deploying about once a week. And then we're just going to say features deployed each year is also about 50. But then I see, Ursula, the idea success rate. What's that?
Now, I know, Nathen, the idea of the success rate of your ideas is 100%.
Of course, I only have good ideas.
Yes, exactly, but that's maybe not the case for all ideas. So this is the percentage of ideas that actually create a revenue increase.
I see.
We say maybe 1 in 3.
1 in 3, 33% success rate. In fact, there has been research done, not by Dora, but by other reputable research organizations that have shown that, in fact, when you ship something new to production, like that's always an experiment. And about 1/3 of those experiments actually deliver the value that you're hoping for, that you expect. Obviously, we want that number to go up, and there are things that we can do to impact that. But I think it's safe for us today to leave this at the default of 33%. So what's next?
The revenue impact per feature. Now, that's difficult to estimate, of course. It means when I implement my AI, how much will my revenue go up on my portfolio revenue? We need to be very conservative, so below 1% is probably good. What are we proposing?
Yeah, we have a 0.5%.
Yes.
Yeah, that feels pretty good. And then I see the change failure rate. And I know that one. That's a Dora metric that really looks at, if you think about all of the deployments that you've done, how many of them failed? Technically we call it the change failure rate. I have a slightly different name for it. I call it the O expletive rate. Because you've been there. You push a change to production and you or someone around you shouts out an expletive. Yeah, that's a change failure. We should roll that back or push forward a hot fix. So I see that this is set by default at 5%. I think we're a little bit better in my organization. I'm going to call it 4%.
Okay, good.
And then failed deployment recovery time. This, again, is how many hours, when you do have one of those failed deployments, how long does it take you to recover from that? And again, we're a little bit better than 4 hours, but I'll call it 2 in total.
Okay. Fine, that works.
All right. Then I think we have some more. Oh, yeah, we do have some more metrics that we want to put into this calculator.
Yeah, now we're moving into the state with AI. So say you've implemented AI in your software development. How much time have you saved? The 12.5% there is an estimate for the time saved. That's about an hour per working day. And there's so much research around how much time developers save. It could be 30 minutes, it could be 3 hours. Really make your own estimate.
Yeah, and you probably won't get that time savings immediately, right? Well that'll come over time.
As we saw with the J-curve.
That's right, that's right. Next up I see 2 things around AI cost. Your AI annual license cost, that's pretty clear, and then additional annual AI costs per user. What else are we paying for beyond the license?
Yeah, tokens, for example.
Oh, right. If I
API.
exceed my token budget, maybe I have to pay a little extra.
Yeah.
It's definitely happened to me. Next, we have additional AI annual infrastructure costs. Yeah? Yeah,
like compute, storage, network, the stuff you do in the background.
Yep.
Yes.
So the incremental additions, not my full infrastructure costs, just what I'm adding on top of that for AI. Yep. Yeah. And then annual training costs per user.
Yeah, so we saw with the J-curve you need to factor in the tuition costs, so that includes also the training for your developers. The $9,000 are approximately 1 day per month of training with the salary that we put in.
Started with, yeah. Well, I did increase my salary a little bit. I love this tool for allowing me to do that. Okay, but next up we have the target number of deployments and the target number of features deployed per year. I see that by default these are going up, and it's a modest increase. We went from 50 deployments a year to 56 deployments a year. That feels pretty good. I think I'll leave those as is. But then I see the target change failure rate. And remember what we found with Dora was that as you increase AI adoption, that instability tends to increase. And that's how we've modeled it by default as well. But you know, I lowered our change failure rate, I think, from 5 to 4. I might expect that it's going to go up, but maybe not all the way up to 6%. I'm just going to drop that down to 5 again.
Okay. And you could put it to 3 as well if you think, oh, actually things are getting worse maybe in the first couple of months. Yeah. Well, okay, let's go with 3 as you wish.
Okay, great.
Okay. What's next? The J-curve productivity drop. Now that's the drop that we saw, and the question is here: how much will productivity drop? We say, "Oops, what's happening?"
Whoop! Could we come back to the demo, please? There we go. Thank you. We're back.
Thank you.
We just wanted to see how fast you could hold up your phones and put them back down. Yeah. That's it.
So we're saying maybe it'll drop by 15%, and the next one is for how long? So maybe 3 months. I don't know. Do you want to change it?
No, those feel pretty good. Let's just scroll back up to the... Perfect. All right, so I get to have this conversation with my finance team and say, hey, look, in the first year, we're going to get an ROI of $2.3 million, nearly $2.4 million. That's about a 67% ROI. Finance is going to be super happy with that. I'm ready. Thank you, Ursula. I'm ready to go.
No, please don't do that, Nathen.
Yeah.
No. It's not an exact formula. I mean, you saw how we played with the assumptions, and we pulled them up, we pulled them down. They could be wrong, and in the end, all models are wrong. That's something what I heard as well. So this is a conversation starter, right? It's not an exact exercise.
Okay, all right. I get that, and it was a good conversation starter. We had a nice conversation, I think.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
All right, but it does help us think about maybe not even everything, but a lot of things. And let's see, let's go back to our slides, shall we?
I wanted to highlight one more thing.
Oh no.
Yeah, if you please could go back once more.
Yes, sorry, Ursula.
No worries. We see 0.6 years as the payback period here, which is pretty good. It's amazing, actually. If it's below 1 year, that's pretty decent. It might take longer, though. If you project your dip to be deeper, or you have more complicated governance, or are regulated more heavily, then the whole process might take longer, and you might take 2 years, and that's okay as well. We usually say 8 months, 6 to 8 months is good for implementations, and for the more complicated ones, maybe 12 to 18 months of payback period.
Excellent. All right.
Now we can go.
Now we can go back to the slides. So, you know, with this calculator, as you've seen, we're taking a lot of things into consideration, maybe not everything, and some of them, as you saw, we're kind of guessing here. But you can already start to see some of the levers and the dials that you might be able to adjust to increase that ROI for your team. So I really think it is a really nice conversation starter to help us plan for that. And just yesterday, we released another report, the ROI of AI-assisted software development. There we go. The ROI of AI-assisted software development. So this report goes into much more detail about how we came up with that calculator. It gives you some good advice on additional metrics that you might want to think about and other considerations and capabilities that your team might be interested in having. So that's basically what we have to share today. We do have a couple of things to close out, so don't go anywhere yet. There's still an opportunity to lift up your phone. And this is the next one. So, you know, Dora, like I said, we collect a lot of research from organizations around the world, organizations just like the ones that you work in. At Google Cloud, we have a lot of research studies that we're doing all the time as well. And we really want to hear from you. So if you scan this QR code, you can sign up for our user experience research. Now, one of the nice things about participating in this research is you can win some really cool Google swag to repay you for participating in that.
Yes, and if you want to go deeper on the business case and do a proper one, a more solid one than the little exercise that we're proposing with the calculator, call us, the Delta team. We're here to help you to prepare for those conversations.
Great, so you can go beyond the calculator
Yes.
and really maybe understand our context a little bit better, give us good questions that we need to be thinking about.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, I love that. Speaking of questions that we might want to be thinking about, I don't think we have time today for questions, but we are hosting a discussion group tomorrow morning. So if you're interested in talking a little bit more about this, please join Ursula, myself, and a few of the other co-authors on the report for a discussion group. That's starting at 8:30 tomorrow morning in Reef B, so please be sure to join us.
Yes, looking forward to see many of you there, fresh after the concert. So
that's right.
Yeah,
yes.
Looking forward to it.
All right, and with that, we want to thank you so much for coming along on our journey as we figured out whether or not AI was worth it. I'm going to take that nearly $4 million number to the bank, though, I think.
Yeah, and with the salary increase.
Yes, obviously with the salary increase, absolutely. Thank you all so much, and please do share your feedback in the app. I know you've been asked to do so with every talk that you went to, but we really mean it this time. Please do share your feedback on the talk. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.